All right, first and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Prayer Millstone for teaching us all this truth through well. Shalom to the Akim out there, Aqua, listening and learning, increasing in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. All right, I wanted to go into, they're not of Israel, which are of Israel. All right, but I also wanted to say, they're not of the elect, but they are Israelites. Okay, so there's been a lot of debates and a lot of talk about Israelites that look like the foreigners, or not the foreigners, so like foreigner Israelites, okay, whose offspring looks like the other nations. They look like the nation of Edom, or like the nation of Ham, or like Moab, so they look like the other nations, okay? They may look Japanese, Chinese, okay? They might look African, they might look West Indian, or not West Indian, what is it called, Middle Eastern, so they look like a lot of them, but yet they're still Israelites, and reason why I wanted to bring this out was because, people have been saying, all right, that you have to be black, to be an Israelite, or your lineage has to be black, which one in itself is a misconception, all right, because Israelites are not black, all right, they're so-called black, okay, because they're actually dark-skinned people, like our Lord Yahweh Shai was a dark-skinned man, right? But this belongs to the spirit, so the spirit might be a certain nation. Spirit might be a certain nation, so Israelite, okay, Edomite, Hamite, Moabite, Ammonite, but the skin looks completely different, right? And that we know, it's a simple thing. You put a Jake man in Asia, all right, which there's plenty of videos of Jake, all right, you got a dark skin, all right, brother walking through China, okay, and what do the women do? The women start lusting over that man. You have a strong brother, fit, and tall, and the women just start glancing over, looking at him because they want him, and that's how it really is, man. Women really want Jake. There's something about Jake that they want, and you leave that brother there for 20 years, guess what? He's going to have kids, right? He's going to have kids, and if he has sons, his sons, all right, and sons, down the line is going to look like that nation, That's like when it comes to actual color and painting, all right, on a canvas or whatever. I'm salaki for ranting on, all right, but you have the color white and the color black, okay? You put the same amount black and white, all right, and the dominant one's going to be black, right? It's going to come out darker, right? But you mix a little bit of black with a lot of white, what's going to happen? That black is going to infuse itself in the white, if you put a small amount. The same thing with green, the same thing with all the colors, man, and that's what happens. That's what happens with people. The same thing with color eyes. People, I always grew up with people saying that it looked like a beautiful thing, which is a unique thing, in its own way. All right. But the dominant is brown eyes, why? Because of the melanin, the same thing with people. The dominant was brown people, but this is Galatians chapter 3 and verse 13. Mashiach hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on the tree, that the blessing of Abraham might come unto the Gentiles through Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. So yeah, we talk about, they're Israelites, okay, but they're not of the elect, because, you know, you have people like, for instance, Eminem. A lot of people have hate towards him, all right, because they say that he's an Edomite, which he's not. He's a Jake, man. You look at his life story and the things that this man went through, and his mother is an Edomite for sure. You know, and the same thing with Logic. Logic and Eminem, you know, it's a curious thing. Logic has a Jamaican father, all right? So he's from the tribe of Benjamin, okay? His father is a Benjamite, got with a white woman, and then when the father died or passed away or left or whatever the case was, which I'm pretty sure he died, all right? The mother, what she ended up doing was having resentment and started being racist, all right, and had resentment towards Logic, you know? And the same thing with Eminem, you know? Eminem's father, either he left, died, or whatever happened. I'm pretty sure he left, all right? But his mother had resentment towards Eminem, and she was bad towards him, you know? But you can tell he's a Jake, man. You know, he only hangs around Jake, okay? And you know, the way that he's incorporated himself, he's good with them, you know? And you can't hide the spirit, man. There's another scripture that goes into that, you know? You can't hide the spirit. You know, their spirit bears witness with our spirit that they're of the Most High. You know, but does that mean that they're part of the elect? No, and there's a lot of misconceptions, all right, when the elders and the apostles make videos about, you know, certain individuals or certain, you know, like Lennox, you know, with her singing, which is a woman, a white woman, all right, so-called. And, you know, you had this brother, what's his name, also a rap artist. What's his name? Blind Fury, you know, and he got hate for that, you know, because the apostle called him a Jake, which he is, you know. He got hate for that because of Blind Fury. He got hate for calling Charlie Puth, I believe it was Charlie Puth, all right, Jake. When you hear his song with, I believe it's Wiz Khalifa, all right, and they played it because of the passing of Paul Walker, you know, and they played that song, and the apostle said it was a really good song and almost made him have a tear in his eye because of how good that song was, you know. And it was from the singing of that kid, which looks like a white man, but he's a Jake, you know. And you have plenty of brothers in Great Millstone as well, all right, that look like they're white men, but they're Jake, man, you know. And we're not saying that they're going to be elected, all right, the other people, the famous people, because they're Israelites, okay? We're just pointing out that the spirit and the canvas of the spirit of Israel is diverse, you know. That's all we're doing, man, you know. So a lot of people like to have that misconception, all right, but the truth still remains. The elect only will see Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, okay? The elect only will be chosen. So it says, Galatians 3 and 15, brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereto. You see? So it's not us adding, okay, saying, you know, Eminem's a Jake, or saying that Charlie Puth is a Jake, or saying that Lennox is a Jake, or her daughter is a Jake, or saying, you know, that Blind Fury is a Jake. You know, we're not saying any of that, man. Okay, we're not changing the scriptures. We're not adding thereto. Okay, we're just simply giving you the profound definition, okay, of what a Jake is, man. You know, because going back to the name Yashar Allah, okay, Yah means he, Yashar is prince, okay, and Allah is God or power. Yashar Allah, you know, he is a prince of the power. You see? And who is the power? Yahweh, the Most High. He is a prince of God. What's a prince to a king? a son, you know, and that's why in the book of I believe it was Luke, it goes into the lineage and says Yahushua, who was the son of Joseph, who was down the line the son of David, down the line who was the son of Adam, who was the son of God, you know, the son of Yahweh. You see? So we're not adding there too, okay? We're just expounding on what the scriptures are talking about, man. Okay, it says, verse 16, now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is in Mashiach. You see? So it's talking about the whole nation of Israel, okay, being part of the promise. But in the seed of Mashiach are the elect, okay, which is what? Who the world ignorantly calls the true Christians, okay, the Mashiachim. Those are the ones that are really under Yahushua, you know, which makes them the sons of Yahushua, you know, in a sense, okay. That's really what that's referring to. So it's involving all of Israel being part of the election, but inside that election is another election, which is of priesthood, okay, the election of the first fruits. You see, that's the house of David being built up right now. You know, you also read that in Ezekiel 37. It goes into it, you know, where the bones come to bones, and you see the bones come into bones, but there's no fruition, okay? Why is that? Because they don't have the spirit. They're trying to come up a different way, you know? And that's not the way of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So let me get this one in Baruch. You know, just trying to go through the spirit. Baruch, chapter 13. No, it was Baruch chapter 3 and verse 35. It says, this is our God, okay, Yahweh, and there shall none other be accounted of in comparison of him. You know? So we don't put any comparisons to what the Most High, the King of the universe is, man. You know? We don't pretend to be, you know, anything else but what the Most High deemed us to be. You know, you got these other dudes saying that they're the Holy Spirit, you know, which that guy, you know, passed away. You know, so he's in the spiritual realm now. But, you know, we don't claim any crazy things, man. All we're claiming is that the Israelites, predominantly Negro, Latino, and Native American, so-called, okay? And then to the scattered abroad, okay? Then to the scattered abroad, you had people in Turkey, okay? In the time of Yahushua, modern-day Turkey, you had people from there that followed after Yahushua. You had people in Italy that followed after Yahushua, you know? And guess where those people are now, man? You know, they're descendants. You think that all their descendants just came to America? No, they're scattered abroad. You know, point blank period. It's simple. You see, not all Israel came to America, man. You know, and even some Israel that did come to America, some of them fled and moved out. You know. Some of them fled and moved out. You got brothers in Asia, brothers in Holland, you know? You got people all over the world, man. And you got people that look like Jakes that aren't Jakes, you know? Their spirit goes back to either Ham or Esau or another nation, okay? Because remember, we were given into slavery, okay? And what do you think those slave masters were doing, man? All right? And then when you go to, met a lot of people from the Philippines, you know, met a lot of people from the Philippines, man, and they have, you know, some of them have an Issacharite spirit, you know. Whenever you start speaking to some of them, some of those Filipinos, man, they don't play, you know, and their spirit is very similar to Issachar, you know. And then when you go into the history, you had a lot of Issacharites that were taken into slavery to the Philippines by the Spanish. You know? So you had a lot of mixing over there, and then you had a lot of Spanish people, all right, that go back, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years, now thousands, okay? And in that time, you had Jake that was ruling over that area. You got Portuguese people that you know, look in the appearance of a white man, okay? And their spirit resides with Jake, okay? So all we're bringing to is that Israel is scattered abroad, okay? And not just scattered, meaning they're in different places, okay? But their skin also is in different places, okay? But the spirit still resides within Israel, you know? So Baruch, chapter 3 and 36, he hath found out all the ways of knowledge, and has given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved. You see? So this was all given to us, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, to bring this truth out, okay, to understand the scriptures, and it's only going to be given to us, all right? So whenever you see a so-called white man out on the highways and the byways preaching, okay, calling on the names of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, just know he's an Israelite, okay? Does that mean that he's the elect or part of the elect? It doesn't mean that, you know? But a good indicator is Colossians chapter 3, verse 12, put on as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved. You know? And that's what we're doing, man, trying to put on as the elect, okay? Not falsifying, but really believing in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? So it says, let me read that again, Baruch 3 and 36, he hath found out all the ways of knowledge, and hath given it unto Jacob his servant, okay? Which, who's the seed of Jacob? All right, you had Jacob, which was later named Israel, and then you had the 12 tribes, okay? So it was given to them, to the Israelites. It says, and to Israel his beloved. You see, Jacob his servant, all right, which is what we read in the kingdom of heaven, okay? You're going to have Jacob his servant, all Israel, and Israel his beloved, which is Zion, to Zion, which is the elect of Israel, okay? Israel his beloved, Zion, all right? And Jacob his servant, you know? So really, this only belongs to Israel, man. So it says, verse 37, afterwards did he show himself upon earth and conversed with men. Now this is through the sign of Yahushai being here, okay, of Yahushai showing himself and conversed with men and taught men, okay? That was all through Yahushai, right? But also through his men, okay? His men do the same thing, right? Don't his men go out to the highways and byways, and if they have to converse with someone about this truth, they converse with them, you know, post it up on YouTube, you know, and it may reach somebody 2 miles from you, or it might reach somebody 50, 100, 1,000, 2,000, you know? I mean, like I made mention, we have brothers in Holland, brothers in Italy, brothers in Africa, brothers in Japan, South America, Central America, you know? And here in the United States, Babylon, okay? So this truth is reaching out, man, to the four corners, you know? So it says, Susanna, all right, let me get this one real quick. Susanna, chapter 1, verse 60, O Israel, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. You know, and whenever you see those Jakes out there in the highways and byways, man, you know, that's what we're doing. Whether they look like so-called Latinos, Native Americans, okay, or so-called Negroes, you know, because there's a lot of people that say even that Latinos, all right, so-called Latinos are not part of the 12 tribes of Israel, man, you know, but yet they call themselves, you know, Ben Yehuda, or son of Judah, you know? But how do you know? How do you know you're the son of Judah if you don't really believing in the 12 tribe chart, man. You know? So it says, O Israel, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. That's the main thing, man. That's what it comes down to. All right, who are the elect? Those that bless Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai are going to be blessed by Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? Those that are doing the work, and not just the work, okay, but the faith. The faith is very important. That's a patience, okay? And let patience work her perfect work, you know? And at the end it shall speak. You see, so before Yahweh Shai comes back and you have the mark of the beast and all that stuff that happens, a lot of people may not be going out to the highways and byways, man. A lot of people may not be believing in the name Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, you know? But when that time comes and they fully take a 180 turn, you know, because right now they're kind of stumbling, right? You have a lot of Jakes that are walking down this dark path and kind of looking back a little bit and walking and looking back and walking and looking back, you know? Some of them may stop there and right now they're thinking, okay? But when that time comes, the Most High is going to turn the tides, okay? And fully convert those that need to be converted and fully turn away those that need to be turned away, okay? So the Most High is going to separate the sheep from the goats, man, okay? He's going to separate those that he wants and those that he doesn't need, right? Because to say that the Most High doesn't want Israel is, you know, against scripture, man, you know? But he's going to turn those to him that he wants, and he's going to turn away the ones that he doesn't need. Why? Because after they're put to death, they're going to come back to the seed line of the elect, you know, which is another misconception of people saying, you know, there is no reincarnation, you know. But going back into the topic, you know, of being an Israelite through reincarnation, it makes perfect sense, you know, because you have someone like Bruce Lee. All right, Bruce Lee had a spirit about him that people thought was arrogant, you know. And if you ever talk to Jake has always had that type of spirit, man, a type of arrogant spirit. All right, not in the sense of, you know, I'm the shit, you know, type of spirit or someone you can't get along with, but a type of spirit of I need to fight on, you know, I need to keep fighting, and I'm not gonna let anybody push me around, you know. And that's how Jake has always been, man. You know, you read that in the scriptures, all right, in the book from Exodus, all right, when the Jake women had to bow down to the Pharaoh, but they had more fear to the Most High, and they're like, you're not going to tell me what to do, man, you know. I have one boss. And you know, I heard a Jake say that before. It was a Levite Jake, all right, Haitian man. And you know, somebody was trying to tell him, you know, you need to be like this and you need to be like that, you know. And he was like, as far as work goes, I'm gonna do what work requires me to do, but anything outside of that, I have one boss, right? He said, I have one boss, and that's the man above, you know. And he's right. Yahweh the Most High, he's the true boss, you know. And that man's spirit was, you know, you can't touch me, you're not gonna mess with me like that, right? And I've met a lot of Jakes that are like that, man. They have that, you know, don't mess with me type of spirit, right? Because I push back, you know. And the way we push back is by the spirit, you know. So this life, you know, rent and bills and all these things, they push down on us, all right? Being Israelites, walking the faith of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai and walking the walk, you know, you have a lot of weight that comes with that. And at the same time, you still have to go back into your life, you know. So it's going to push down on you, all right? But our thing is, you got to persevere, right? We have to push on. So it says in Susanna, O ye priests of the Lord, verse 61, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. O ye servants of the Lord, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. O ye spirits and souls of the righteous. You see? Bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. You know, and that's beautiful, Tawada. All right. It's beautiful. All right, that came out. Because that's what it comes down to, man. It comes down to the spirits. Right? It comes down to the spirits. Whether the spirit comes from the lineage of Israel or the spirit does not, you know? And if it doesn't, then you can't be saved. Point blank, period. All right? Point blank, period. You can't be saved. You know, the spirit is of Israel, then we can point out that it's Israel. Oh, that's a Jake, and that's a Jake. Okay? But when it comes to the election, that's a different story, man. You know? And I'll tell you this. Esau was made so small about the heathen. Okay? And Jake is greater than the sand of the sea. You don't know who's going to be an Israelite or not, man, until you really get to, you know, talking to them and see who they really are. You know, I've met people that look like Edom that are actually Israelites, you know, and I work well with them, and, you know, our spirit kind of resides with each other, you know, not to that level because, you know, of going outside of work, but, you know, there's a calmness about it, right? There's a calmness about it. And there's other Edomites that they're not going to tell you, okay, and show you their forked tongue, okay, but certain things that they do, you can sense it, you know, like scriptures say. Where is that? Book of Psalms. Let me get that one real quick just to bring this out. You know, also Book of Obadiah. I'll come back to it, Lord willing. But let me get Psalms. Where is it at? 30. Psalms 50. It's Psalms 55. Here it is. Psalms 55 and 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken the covenant, or his covenant. Okay? It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Now, who broke the covenant? Okay? Yeah, we broke the covenant with Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Okay? Like, that's why we need a new covenant, which is coming. It's not here yet. Okay? But it's talking about Esau, Edom. The covenant was after the blessing. Okay? Jacob was supposed to be served by all his brethren. Right? Jacob being Israel. Israel was supposed to be served by all his brethren, like Isaac said. Okay, so all the other nations had to subdue themselves to Israel. Okay, which Edom broke whenever he put the yoke, okay, on Israel. You know, and said, what was that? Psalms 137. You know, by the rivers of Babylon, there we wept. Okay, why? Because Edom, 3 verses down, or a few verses down, says, whereas Edom saith, not whereas Edom saith, raise it even to the foundation thereof, O daughter of Edom, okay, who should be destroyed. It's talking about the Edomites, right? The Edomites are the ones that put that hate, you know? They had that hate even when we were passing from Egypt, okay, to the promised land, and we wanted to pass through Edom, okay, and the Edomites said no. All right, and they said, you know, we're not going to touch anything. We're just going to go on a different road, you know, passing through, and if we touch anything, we'll pay it back, you know, manyfold. And the king of Edom still said no, right? Why? Because there was a hate that they had. You go back to Genesis, okay? In the book of Genesis, Esau and Jacob were babies, right? They were babes in the womb, okay? Not knowing how to speak, not yet having, you know, dealt through anything, not yet having, you know, stolen each other's, you know, crackers or any of that sort. What was happening in the womb was a fight. You know, it was an actual fight. Because when you go into that word, okay, it was like Elder Apostle Tahar says, you know, like an MMA fight. You know, they were actually fighting with each other, man. There was a hate that Esau had. You know, and that's why when Esau came out, Jacob was holding on to the heel, because it's also foreshadowing when Esau goes out, okay, Jacob is gonna come out. Okay, when Esau goes out, Jacob comes out. You know, so when the kingdom of Esau falls, Jacob is gonna rise. You know, so going back to Psalms 55 and 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. And that's what was given to Esau, the sword, you know, to make war and to do as he pleases. Okay? He had the fatness of the earth. Okay? So we know that there's a difference between Esau and Jacob. Okay? We always, you know, preach about it, talk about it, you know, and break it down. Esau's going into slavery, point blank, period. You know? But there's flesh out there that looks like Edom, and they're not Edom. You know? And that's basically what we expound on. You know? So I you know, ever since I first came into this truth, you know, and then I would go out to the highways and byways, I would watch my tongue whenever I call somebody, you know, an Israelite, or whenever I call somebody an Edomite. You know, if they want to come up and ask about the 12 tribe chart, you know, I'll let them know that these are the Israelites, you know, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, to the scattered abroad, to the ones that have the spirit of Israel, right? And then they might expound and say, oh, okay, well, you know, belief such and such, you know? And then you have some people that look at it and laugh and get mad about it, you know? And that could either be a reprobate, it could either be a demon inside that person, or it can be an Edomite or another nation, you know? So we're not saying that everybody can be saved, okay? We're not saying that Edom can be saved, okay? And we're not saying that, you know, that everybody's a Jake, okay? But you just don't know, man. You just don't know. I've been, you know, I was deep into that when I first came in, you know, and I had a lot of questions when I first came in. There was a lot of, you know, people that I would see, and I was like, man, that guy looks like an Edomite, you know, and I would see their actions, and I'm like, I don't know if he is an Edomite. You know, I can't really tell. And then there's some people that I would see, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a Jake, you know. And there's some people that I would see, and I'm like, I don't even know if he's a Jake, you know. So I was into it. Then I got into the famous people, you know, and I was looking at certain things that they do. Tom Brady, okay. Whenever you read about Tom Brady, and all the rings that he has at NFL, being such a great sport, or what is it called, an athlete, okay, being such a great athlete, and being so well around Jake, okay, you can't fake it. Look what happened in the Exodus, man. You had an Egyptian, okay, son of an Egyptian. So the boy was not an Israelite, hanging around Israelites, okay. And what happened after the travel? Okay, that boy had to be put to death. Why? Because he was already fighting with Israel, and he cursed the name of the Most High, man. You know, that's the best example. You know, besides Esau and Jacob fighting in the womb, that's one of the best examples I could find. It doesn't matter if you're dark skinned, okay? It doesn't matter if you're pale skinned, all right? If your spirit is different from Israel, then 100% it's not gonna, you know, collide right. You know? 100%, especially us being in the truth, you know? We definitely don't have a lot of people that we collide with, but you can feel the vibration. Psalms 55 and verse 22, cast thy burdens to Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. But thou, O Yahweh, shalt bring them down into the pit of destruction. You see? we're not doubting the scriptures, man. We know Esau, Edom is going to be put to death. You know, bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. And that's the main thing, man. Trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know, you have to trust in his word. Because we know Obadiah, right? We know what Obadiah is about, the destruction of Esau, Edom, you know, which I'll do for the second part of this, you know. But when it comes down to the spirit, you can't physically look at somebody and see the spirit and say that's an Israelite, man. You know, the only way we see is by small glimpses that come out, right? Whenever you have Jake just out there dancing or singing, you know, or flowing and rapping and doing, you know, little things that have been given to us, you know, gifts that were given to us. And those are gifts, because not everybody can do that, and no other nation can do it, all right, but the nation of Israel. And it's evident, you know, that Israel was the one that was blessed, okay? The former of all things, you know, when it comes to inventions. You see, when it comes to surpassing, when it comes to being open-minded, you know, Jake is at the forefront, man. You know, when it comes to cooking, you know, amongst other things, you know, but those are small little glimpses of the spirit. You know, that doesn't mean that we can see the spirit directly and say, oh, that white man is an Israelite, or that white man is an Edomite, or that white man is a Hamite. You know, there's no way we can really tell, man. You know, so we just kind of throw that out there. Like, Bruce Lee was definitely an Israelite. You know, the things that he did and the things that he went through. Okay, he was an Israelite. It's known, you know, by us. You know, but when it comes to the election, it's something completely separate. You know, so it says, Susanna chapter 1 verse 64, O ye holy and humble men of heart, okay, which is humble of mind. All right, that's what it means. It says, blow ye the trumpet, praise and exalt him above all forever. O Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever, for he hath delivered us from hell and saved us from the hand of death, and delivered us out of the midst of the furnace. I keep saying Susanna, but it's the song of the three children. You know, I also wanted to get into Susanna, but this is the song of the three children. So Salak, chapter 1 verse 60 through 63. You know, which is whenever they were cast into the furnace, you know, in the time of Babylon. But it says 65 again, O Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever, for he hath delivered us from hell and saved us from the hand of death, and delivered us out of the midst of the furnace and burning flame, even out of the midst of the fire hath he delivered us. Okay, and that's how it's gonna go with us as well. You know, like it did with Daniel and them. You know, it's gonna go for us as well. But that's talking about the elect. Okay, now they might be, they're not all Israel, which are of Israel. You know, which I wanted to go back into that just to explain that, and then I'll move on to a different subject. You know, and I just wanted to do that just to open up and you know, start it off. But Romans this is Romans chapter, there's actually a couple of them. Let me go to chapter 11 real quick, and then I'll move back. This is Romans chapter 13 and 11. It says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. All right, so that's the wake up, which involves not all Israel, all right, but certain Israelites, right? Predominantly the elect, the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel, right? So shit's a lot. Salak. It wasn't windy, now it's getting windy. But as the Spirit, let me go back into Romans chapter 9 and verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, all right, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption. All right, so it didn't say according to the flesh who are dark skinned. All right, to whom pertaineth the adoption. It said who are Israelites, right? Which means sons of Israel, Ban Yashar Allah. Okay, and to the Israelite women as well, but predominantly for the men. It's talking about the men, right? According to the flesh, which is what? That's how the Spirit, reproduces. The Spirit can't mix with spirit, all right? But the Spirit, through the flesh, reproduces with a woman, and then you have an Israelite son or an Israelite daughter, right? If you're an Israelite. Now, if it's an Edomite woman, then you still have an Israelite child, Now, if the mother's an Israelite and the father's an Edomite, then you're going to have an Edomite child, okay? Which, if he looks like a Negro, Latino, Native American, that's probably a tear. You see, but Romans chapter 9 and verse 3, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, right? Which means under one of the 12 tribes, which is by the lineage of the father. It says, who are Israelite, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises, which you'll find in Jeremiah 31 and 31 on down, right? So continuing on, this is verse 14. Now, you know what? I'll start off at the top, but I'll come back to that. But this is Romans chapter 11 and 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come up out of Zion a deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Okay, so in the second covenant, when that starts, all Israel, okay, whatever they look like on this side, on the other side, they're going to be godly men and godly women. Okay, so that means our women are going to be in order. Okay, we're not going to be looking like lepers. Okay, for whatever crimes we committed in the past. You see, that means in the kingdom of heaven we're going to be good, right? We're going to have the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, we're not going to be shaven. Okay, we're going to have our beards. All right, women are going to be in order. They're going to have coverings, and they're going to be made perfect. And we're going to be made perfect, but that's in the kingdom of heaven. On this side, you don't know, right? So it says Romans chapter 11 and verse 26 again, until all Israel shall be saved. All right, that means if Eminem is an Israelite, all right, on the other side, after death happens here, all right, and the folly's put away, that means Eminem, if he's an Israelite, in the kingdom of heaven, he's going to be an Israelite. That means Blind Fury, if he is an Israelite, that means in the kingdom of heaven, he's going to be an Israelite. Okay, and he's going to be well, all right, but he's not going to be in the high stature with riches and money like he is now, or really, he probably will be, all right, and they probably will be, and the lowest of Israel is probably going to be, because of how rich and powerful Israel's going to be, but he's not going to be in the highest of the stature, all right, like Jay-Z and all that, all right? People look up to Jay-Z. Nah, Jay-Z is going to be looking up to us, okay, the elect of Israel. You know, there's a difference. So it says Romans chapter 11 and verse 27 now. It says, "For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins." And it tells you in Isaiah chapter 1, taking away the dross, all right, and the tin, you know, which is impurities. Okay, we're going to be purified. And if you don't want to be purified by trial, which is what the elect are going through and gonna go through, then you're going to be purified, okay, by hellfire, which is the nukes, okay, when those come to play. You see? But there will be a purification, man. There will be, okay? It says, verse 28, "As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake." You see? So we need enemies, man. Okay? We need enemies. The one Ratazam, part of that number. Okay? Part of the elect. But the elect need enemies. And they're coming from our nation. Okay? Not just Esau, Edom, but from our nation. Whenever you look at these Israelite videos, mainly you have Israelites coming up against this truth. Okay? You don't really have these Christians because they're scared. All right? But you have Israelites coming up against this truth, man. Just like in the time of the Maccabees, you had a lot of 2/3 Israelites that were going and snitching, okay, to the Greeks, you know, to the Romans. Really to the Greeks, Salak. You know, the Romans at that time had a peace treaty with Israel after a period of time, you know, but to the other nations, they would go out and snitch and say, you know, Israel can't fight during the Sabbath because we should do no type of work during the Sabbath. And then, you know, those nations would, and then they would show those nations when the Sabbath was coming. So whenever the Sabbath came, they would go and fight. And the Israelites, knowing the law, statutes, and commandments, they wouldn't fight back. So they would just get slaughtered off, man. You know, but that's what the wicked 2/3 are doing. And that's what the wicked 2/3 did. Even in the time of Yahushai, time of the Maccabees, time of the Judges, okay? In the time of Genesis, you know? It's happened over and over. So it says, "As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake." Or it says, for the Father's sake. You know? So all are beloved for the Father's sake. Right? But the ones he's worried about are the elect, as Scripture says. You know?